So now in our show, I want to take a look at a film that is only in cinemas for a few days. So we're going to try and get this up really, really quickly so everybody out there can see this film over the next 3 days while it's out. Now, it's the horror film that the entire world is talking about at the moment, and that film is called Terrifier 2. Now, of course, a lot of you out there will probably, if you're a horror fan especially, have seen the first film in this series, directed by Damien Leone. The Art the Clown films started off as short films, went into an anthology, and then, of course, became Terrifier, a hugely successful independent horror film that became a cult classic. And one of the things that made those films so popular was how gory they were. They kind of went away from what we were seeing with modern day horror and went well and truly into the gore side of things. Now, Terrifier 2 pretty much picks up straight after the events of the first film. Art the Clown is in the middle of murdering the person doing the autopsy of him at the start of this film. But largely this film centers around a family that have experienced a tragedy themselves. It largely centers around Sienna, played by Lauren Lavara, whose father killed himself years earlier due to a brain tumor that he had. But we soon find out that not everything is right with Sienna's family. First of all, she suspects that there's something going on with her brother, Jonathan. He's got some issues, and he's played by Elliot Fulham, I should say. He's got some issues. He seems to be obsessed with death, and some of the things that he's doing is really freaking out Sienna, who confides to their mother, Barbara, played by Sarah Voigt, that she feels that Jonathan might end up becoming a serial killer, especially after he decides that he is going to wear the Art the Clown outfit this Halloween. Keeping in mind that of the events that have just happened, the Halloween before, she's not too impressed that her brother wants to wear that outfit. Now, from there, this film pretty much becomes a slasher with a lot more gore. You basically see Art the Clown murdering his way through the town, kind of Michael Myers style, and you know at some point he's going to end up clashing with the Shaw family, Sienna, Barbara, and Jonathan. To make matters worse, Jonathan is seeing visions of Art the Clown, and sees Art at his school, and something happens as a result of that then sees Jonathan suspended, and Barbara, his mum, coming down heavy on him. At the same time, a fire breaks out at Sienna's room that she says that she has no knowledge of how it happened. So there's a little bit of supernatural play in there as well. But of course, you're going to go and see this film because you want to know about the kills. Well, the kills are very, very creative, I've got to say that. This is not the kind of film to go and see if you're not into hardcore horror, I will say that. There's been talk of Terrifier 2 causing people to faint and vomit in cinemas overseas, and I would say those people are probably people that are not hardcore fans. Let's face it, if you are going to festivals like Monster Fest here in Australia, you'll be used to the kind of gore that's in this film. The film is creative. I find Art the Clown a pretty impressive villain. He deserves to be mentioned up there alongside Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, all of those, because he is an interesting character, and he's so well played in this film as well. I know a lot of people will probably say, what are you doing saying that Art the Clown is well played? But David Howard Thornton does such an amazing job to play basically a killer that is a mute. All of his actions has to come from body language and facial expressions, which he does really, really well throughout this film. There's some incredibly creepy scenes, especially at one point at a girl's front door and another time in a Halloween shop, which really just goes to show just how good David Howard Thornton is as an actor. I really thought Lauren Lavera does a great job in this film. So does Elliot Fulham as well. there'll be a lot of people out there who will just want to say that this film is basically a gore fest with no story. That's not true. There is a story here. There is a very good story about a family who have suffered from a loss, a really, really bad loss of the father, and now things are happening to them that they can't explain. You've got a mother who talks to her kids in a way that a parent should never talk to the kids. Obviously, she's still traumatized by things. And you've got a girl who you can tell by the fact of what she's wearing for Halloween. She's trying to make her father's legacy live on. And meanwhile, you've got a young boy who is experiencing something that he can't explain, but getting blamed for it. So there is a fairly decent story in there. There are a few characters in there that are the stereotypical kind of characters that if you've seen John Carpenter horror, you will have seen before, and you know that they're going to meet a pretty bloody end at some point because that's what they're there for. But look, this film does have a storyline. It holds up. In fact, to be honest, the storyline probably holds up as well as any of the horror films that we've seen this year. So definitely don't think that this is just 2 hours of gore. There's gore in there, but there's also a story as well. So you're not going to be disappointed with that kind of thing. I find it to be a very creative film. The way that some of the kills happen are pretty creative. The torture scenes, I know it sounds kind of bad, but they're creative as well. And they're probably the parts that most people are going to struggle with the most. But look, there's a bit more of a supernatural element in this one than the original film. But look, I think if you like Art the Clown as a character and you've liked the other Terrifier films, whether they be the short films with Art the Clown or the original film, you're going to end up enjoying this one. So look, go along, check it out. I can't believe that some people are hating this online. If you're a true fan of horror, you're going to love this film. I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5.